This video is a militia engineer task. I'm going to do one on the battle drill for dismounted mine clearance sweep. This was a request actually that someone gave me over on Telegram. They were wondering, how was this done back in the day? Now currently the US military and a lot of other militaries have Huskies or South African Meerkats, the vehicle that evolved into the Husky, and then I know the Russians have their own version of that equipment also. So the current battle drill most likely is stay mounted inside the Husky, send that forward, probably two of them, off-centered or staggered a little bit, one in front of the other, to sweep the road ahead of you for mines. But how the battle drill used to go: a mine is located, or vehicle hits a mine, or you suspect there could be a minefield ahead on the roadway or on the trail. You can do this for dismounted drill also, for dismounted patrols. You're going to stop at least 50 to 100 meters back from where you suspect the minefield is at. You're going to dismount your mine sweep teams. They are going to start their sweep about 50 meters forward or in front of the mine strike that did occur, or where we suspect the minefield is at. You're then going to sweep going from one edge of the road to the other. Make sure you do cover onto the shoulder just a little bit. Now you deploy two-man sweep teams, one with the mine detector and a prober. So how we did it: the detector, they stripped down everything except their body armor and their uniform on. No metal. You do not know if any mines ahead could be magnetically influenced. So ammo, your magazines, your weapon, that stuff all stayed back at the vehicle. Prober was allowed to have a weapon with, because quite frankly, if the detection did not go off with the detector, chances are pretty low that it'll go off with any that is on the prober. So the prober is the security person for the detector. Detector moves forward. Now he is swinging the mine detector in front of him, and he's doing a 2-meter sweep. 1 meter to his right, 1 meter to his left, getting a nice big sweep in. The head of the mine detector is within an inch or two of the ground. You want it pretty close, because remember, it's only going to penetrate down maybe 6 to 8 inches on average. Now, the prober will be behind your detector by between 15 to 25 meters. Now, why those distances? 25 meters is considered the minimum safe distance to be in the open and in the prone if an anti-tank mine goes off. 15 meters is considered the minimum distance for a blast anti-personnel mine. Now, what about bounding fragmentation? Don't have to worry about those as much, because bounding fragmentation mines are metal bodied. And even if it's a plastic body, it is filled with metal shrapnel inside. The detector will come across it. Even before he gets the detector head over the top of the fuse, he's going to already start to get a reaction with the detector head and the magnetic signature of that mine. But if a bounding fragmentation goes off, really the minimum safe distance you're going to be looking is 25 to 30 meters away from the mine when it goes off. That is where you'll survive, but the chance of you getting wounded is still pretty high. But depending on the situation, the closest you want to be is 15 meters between your detector and your probe. Really, you should be shooting for 25 meters. Now, The detector's going ahead and he's doing a slow sweep of side to side to side to side. It's something that you have to practice before you do this battle drill. You do have a certain speed you have to do to allow the electronics inside the mine detector to process the signal and let you know if there is a mine there. Now, I will make this note with the older mine detectors, such as the ANPSS 11 and its predecessors going back to World War II. Those emitted a constant tone the entire time. A constant "ree," and then when you came across something, the pitch got louder, got higher, letting you know that it came across something. So those mine detectors, the detector is only supposed to sweep for about 10 to 15 minutes. Longer than that, he runs the risk of going tone deaf. With the invention of the ANPSS 12 in the early 1990s, that constant tone went away and we had a heartbeat where it went thump, 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 thump. You heard that thump, that told you the detector is working properly. And then when it would come across a detection, that is when it would start to squeal. It would start at a lower tone as it's farther away. When it's over the top of it, it's really loud. So the detector here, he comes across a possible mine. So he's getting close, coming up to it, and then he'll hear so what he does, he goes to the side to the very edge where he starts to detect. He then does a count going all the way across until the tone disappears. Divides that by 2, that should put you over the top of your target, dead center. Then pull it to close to you till the detection stops, bring it forward, start counting as it starts making the tone, count until tone goes away, divide that by 2, you now have the likely location of the mine. At that point, you needed to pull out a mine marker from your pocket. This mine marker needs to be non-metallic. There were actual mine markers made by the military, and the only time I ever had those was when I was in engineer school. We typically had to make our own. So one thing that you could do, you could have a pocket with some gravel inside and some slips of paper. So you come where your detection is, you found the center, move say 6-8 inches away from it, put down your piece of paper with the rock over the top. Another thing that we would do is we would take the cardboard from an MRE box, we would cut say 1 inch to 2 inch wide, about 8 to 10 inches in length, cut 2 strips, make a hole in the center, and we would run some 550 cord through there, knot it above the top piece and below the bottom piece, melt those ends, and we would have our mine marker. We would fold them up inside our pocket. We came up with a detection. Well, 6 to 8 inches away, we would open up our little X, place it on the ground. What you're doing, you're marking the location for the prober. The detector then signals for the prober to come forward. Detector lets him know. How big was the signal, you know, anything special on it. Maybe it was really small. If it's really small, that could be just a chunk of metal in the road, or it could be a low metallic anti-personnel mine. If it's a larger detection, it could be a chunk of metal that's buried in the road, or it could be an anti-tank mine. You then swap places. The prober takes over in the location in front of the mine. Detector moves back to where the prober was and gets down in a crouch. Not necessarily the prone, they didn't want you laying on the ground. The detector would then go into the prone directly in front of the target, and he would take his mine probe here and he would start gently probing in a few inches into the ground, making a probe, say about 1 inch apart from each entrance into the ground, and he would check that entire area. You want to go down a few inches. Why? Because an anti-tank mine could be, say, about 3 inches below the surface, maybe 4. Now, I did a video on how to use a mine probe for how to hold it and that stuff, but you come across a detection, remember you want to be at an angle so that if you do come across a pressure plate on an anti-personnel mine, it's going to kind of slide along the top. You don't want to put pressure right down into the pressure plate. As you're holding it, just barely like this, you come across something in there, could be a rock, could be a mine, this will get pushed back in your hand. They'll let you know something is there. The prober at that point will then do a 2-finger sweep, and he will check the area going from the center of where he had that hit with the probe, and he's going to sweep outward from over that location, and he's going to go down till he locates the object. It could be a mine, could be a chunk of metal that was just in the roadway, could be a rock. Has to confirm what it is. If it is not a mine, then he's going to call the detector back to that position, pass off the mine marker to him, and let him know that, hey, no detection, let's keep going. If it was a mine, the detector is going to have to signal that back. Usually, you know, wave up and down that you found something. So then, leave that mine marker on the ground with the uncovered mine in that location. Move forward. The detector will then take its place and continue detecting past that mine going forward. And the prober will make sure not to set off that mine as they continue on until they are at least 50 meters past the last detection on their side of the road. Now, roadways are pretty wide, a lot wider than 2 meters wide. So you'd have another detection team that is going to be 15 to 25 meters behind this team. Same setup, same procedure. So his 2 meter wide sweep is going to just cover the edge of the path this guy cleared, going all the way back and forth, and then you're going to have other detection teams going back. The most I seen was 4 detection teams going at the same time, spread out down the roadway. Once you got past the last mine, that is when you put in, you know, you made it pretty obvious that, hey, this is it, this is the farthest we got. Signal it to the other probe teams or detection teams so that they knew what, you know, how far you got. You then are going to very carefully go down inside the area that you swept all the way back, report in to the rest of your squad, your platoon, that is that 50 meters back, 50 to 100 meters back from the first detection. Let them know how many mines you found, and what type. You found so many anti-tank mines, so many anti-personnel mines. Once all the teams have finished clearing the roadway, no other mines have been detected, and everyone has gone back to the vehicle, your prober is then going to move forward with a bag of demo. And he's going to go down the lane that he was on, and he's going to start at the farthest point, placing a charge on each mine going all the way back. And then potentially running branch lines into the center of the roadway. The center of the roadway, you will have a line main going down it. Those charges will get tied in onto the line main as this team here, as this prober gets his done, He is then going to tie in the charges from this team and this team going back. And then your number 3 team over here, they will tie in the charges from number 3 and number 4 team to the line main. And then the squad leader that's in charge of the mission is the one that's going to be doing the initiation once permission is given. After the charges have all gone off, that point, the squad leader is going to go forward and he is going to look to make sure every single charge has gone off and destroyed the target that it was set to take out. He'll look down in the hole. If the mine is still there, you're going to have to attempt to set it off again, which will result in a second blast using pop and drops. So that's the basic battle drill on mine clearance sweep. I did this a lot when I was in charge of quartering parties. Quartering party, we're going into an area, we're checking it out to see if the platoon, our company can move in there, occupy it for an assembly area. So you go through, you do a lot of mine sweeps on that. You check the entrances coming in, the exits, suspicious spots on the roadway, suspicious spots in that potential assembly area. So this is a battle drill I do know quite a bit on. So there you go. The old style, which can be done nowadays using the PSS-14 and other newer mine detectors. You can still do the same thing. Dismounted mine clearance sweep battle drill. Now, for all my engineer brothers in the Patriot and Militia movements, always remember, essay ons.